All right, so in today's video, I'm going to be showing you 10 mistakes you never need to make inside of the Forge. Now, obviously, these are mistakes I personally made when I first started off the game, and the sad part is a ton of people make this, even as high in game players that are above level 100. Now, make sure you do watch this video all the way through till the end, and then let me know in the comments how many of these mistakes you are still doing. So, number one, the main mistake I see a lot of people is not stacking quests. So, obviously, the biggest mistake a lot of people do commonly, especially for newer players, is not stacking quests, and I'm going to be giving away either every single game pass, or I'm going to be giving away 50 rerolls to a few people. And to enter into the giveaway, if you want to enter, all you got to do is comment Roblox username down below, leave a like, and hype this video, and that'll enter you into the giveaway. Quest stacking is one of the best ways you can make money in XP inside of game, especially earlier on. So if you don't know what quest stacking is, it's pretty simple. Essentially, you want to go to most NPCs inside of the game and accept all of their quests. For example, you could start off in, say, the second island. You can come on in here. You can talk to the Barraclough right here, and you can get the first quest, and then you can come on up to the top section, and then you can come over and get the next quest, which you can get, if you haven't completed it, obviously, from Captain Rowan, and then you can come on over and get the one from the Masked Stranger, and then now you're already at 3 quests. And then you can also just go to nearby quests from different NPCs. Like, for example, if you come on down to the starting section, and up here you can talk to Line and talk to him, and then you can also come on to back to this backside, and just so the entrance and starts over there, we can just run around this backside and talk to Monkey right here. You can start his quest and just go around all these, because while you're casually playing, mining rocks, selling ores, selling weapons, crafting, all these things, you're going to be completing multiple quests in the background, and this is just going to make it way more efficient. And these quests do pay very well and give a lot of XP. So obviously, if you had done this in the start, or if I personally had done this in the start, this would have definitely helped progression way faster. A next mistake, which is number 2, that a lot of people make, is buying every single pickaxe. Most pickaxes in the Forge are completely useless and for sure will only waste your money. So the most optimal, if say you're in the second zone, is going to be going from the Cobalt pickaxe, maybe even the Mithril pickaxe, and then up to the Arcane pickaxe, because obviously the Arcane pickaxe you can use for quite some time because of its good stats overall. And you can even get this in the first zone, but for the most part, you just want to do that. And you can simply just skip the rest of the other pickaxes, because buying everything in between will just slow down your progression. Now, number 3, which is another mistake I commonly see people do, is selling ores for money instead of doing a better method. Now, obviously, grinding money is very important. As you see, I have 2.1 million, but a lot of common issues people do, and I see this a lot, is instead of just grinding ores up front and then selling them along with essence for money, what you want to do is forge them first, because the value increase you get is tremendous. For example, if I were to craft a basic hammer or colossal sword, I could sell that for nearly 5,000 instead of the normal ores by themselves only selling for not even 2,000. So you can easily double or triple your average revenue if you just sell the crafted and forged weapons instead of just the upfront ores. Now, the next mistake isn't really a issue, more as an optimal way you can grind, which is going to be fully breaking and mining ores. So when mining, you should not fully break ore nodes every time. Instead, you want to get it to about 50%. The reason for this, I'll go ahead and show you, is whenever you're mining, if you get an ore to about 50%, what's going to happen is it's going to show you what ore is actively in it. And if you go ahead and, don't fully mine them, what's going to happen is not only will you be able to first off see the ores that you're going to get from it, but you can leave that ore. Like if I get the basalt vein to this, I can see inside of this, I'm going to get some riviolite, topaz, quartz, and emeralds. So if I go ahead and finish mining this, as you can see, and cuprit, forgot to mention that. Now, the reason for this is when you're mining rarer ore nodes like volcanic rock, for example, you don't want to waste this. So what you can do is get it down to around 2,000 HP, and you can see the ores that are being displayed, and then you can go ahead and mine some other ores. Now, if I just go ahead and fully mine this down to about 2,000, as you can see, we're going to get obsidian and some volcanic rock from it, which I don't personally want that. So what I can do is then go ahead to a different volcanic rock and mine that. Because if I were to, finish mining this, it also looks like a bit of topaz. As you can see, I was correct. Volcanic rock, topaz, and obsidian. If I didn't want that, I could go ahead and mine something else, because the reason for this is those obviously aren't too good. And I'm personally working on just getting good ores in general. As you can see, darkite, demonite, magmite, fireite, and lightite are my personal preferences for grinding. But if you leave an ore for long enough, what will happen is it'll actually regenerate the ore and the stuff inside of it. So if I'm mining a volcanic rock and there's something in it I don't want, I can actually leave that volcanic rock and go mine a different one. on, and what will happen is it'll actually regenerate back to the 4500 HP, and the ores inside of it will change. Now, the next issue I see a lot is people mining inefficiently, which a very common thing you can do is mining multiple rocks. Not all rocks are close enough to mine at the same time, but a lot are close enough to mine at the same time. Like this, for example, I can mine both of these at the same time, or coming on over to something like this and mining these at the same time. Now, a very common spot and place people do this is the entrance to the volcanic depths. You can mine them in numerous different spots. You can get up under them and you can mine both of these because, you know, you're going to be way more efficient with your mining. So we can go ahead and just mine this, right? And get this down a good amount. And then the next, this is going to be the sixth one I see a lot of people do, is the goblin quest. I feel like people do this way too early in the game because this is a very hard and expensive quest to do. Obviously, this needs almost 100,000 gold to do and a ton of rare stuff, and you don't really get benefit much out of it besides just being able to grind slimes, which I'm not gonna lie, slimes are good for money up front, but the only issue is a lot of people try to unlock this zone too fast. I would only recommend doing this if you are struggling to grind money in general, or you have plenty of money and just want to get the rare ores for indexing. Now, the seventh mistake I see people create or do really commonly is doing their races differently or trying to get the wrong ones. So obviously there are very good races in the game and very common ones that are actually really good. For example, if we go to the race rerolls real quick, as you see, the dwarf is a 7% chance, which obviously is a very good one, but you might assume something like golem, dragonborn, minotaur, or even the angel or demon are going to be the best ones. But realistically, the dwarf has a passive that is very good. You get a 5% better foraging stats. You also get 15% mining damage boost and a 20% chance to deal 50% bonus damage to rocks. And this will apply to basalt rocks and volcanic rocks, which is very good, especially if you're only grinding volcanic rocks, which is insanely strong, especially if you don't have the ability to get the demon or angel race. So you'd want to make sure to get that. Now, the eighth mistake I see people do very commonly is ignoring daily quests. Now, you might not know what a daily quest is, and that just furthermore goes to prove it. Now, a daily quest is going to be something such as Sparkloff right here. He's going to be next to the forge. He wants you to do daily quests, which is usually just mining a certain amount of basalt rocks and basalt cores. And the best thing about these is they don't upscale in difficulty. They remain relatively the same. And similarly, the Masked Stranger is also a daily quest. Both of these NPCs are going to want you to do quests daily for them, and you can get very good rewards. If you're either mine grinding or you're just grinding in general, you can get a lot of value out of this. Now, the ninth mistake I see a lot of people very common do is not using their attacks correctly. You can attack, obviously you can just walk up to the thing and hit it, but there's a good chance you'll either take damage, especially if you're fighting rare mobs where they'll actually deal a good amount of damage to you. You want to make sure you're farming them correctly, which either is using heavy weapons or not blocking. So my personal recommendation, I have a full video in-depth guide of the best way you can grind using heavy attacks. So when you're fighting, you can use what's called a heavy attack, which is like, so this is your normal attack. And then your heavy attack is like this, where you deal way more upfront damage, just like that. So if I come up and hit him, right, we're dealing like a lot of damage. So I can go ahead and just do a little bit of a damage test. So if you're on PC, if you click R, you'll do your heavy attack just like that, rather than just normal like clicking. I'm going to go ahead and get down here real quick to show you. Now this works with other stuff, but you can also do what's called blocking or parrying, which is where you pretty much don't take damage from the person's attack. So like this guy right here, this is going to be parrying where I don't take damage up front. And then the heavy attack for me is, so this is like the normal attacks, but if I click R, it's this attack, which obviously has a bit longer of a cooldown. But if I go to one of my stronger weapons like this one and go ahead and do my heavy attack, which as you see just fully one-shot him. So if I come in, it does a lot of damage, but it's especially good because I feel like a lot of people don't even know this mechanic exists, especially on lower end weapons. You can do this heavy attack, but as you saw, that other one dealt nearly 500 damage in one single attack. So you definitely want to do that. Now, the next and final mistake I see a lot of people do is spending their money incorrectly. When what happens is, as you level up and progress, you unlock different race slots. Now I have 3, and what a lot of people don't do is they don't take advantage of the fact that you can get benefits from different ones. So if you use the goblin race, which is a 10% chance to get, this will give you a 12% shop discount, which can make you so much money in the long run, especially if you're spending a ton on pickaxes and trying to get the best pickaxe. You can save so much money if you go ahead and use this race, because obviously with the 12% shop discount, if I were to spend 500,000 on this, I will easily make over 50,000 back. Now, obviously, these are some of the main mistakes a lot of people commonly make, and I would not recommend doing. So make sure you do stick to the guide and stay grinding. But for the most part, thanks to you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.